Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this episode of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. I'm your host, Basel Manova. And today I want to talk to you about big, daring, bold dreams. And I will be sharing also how I have been dreaming about, and also I would love to bring your awareness to why we may not be uh, setting ourselves a lot of big, daring dreams, even though we may have it, or maybe even we don't allow us to have it, and how to overcome that hurdle, basically. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I have been coaching recently a lot of humanitarians, especially in the group setting, where, by the way, if you are wanting to join my group coaching for big transitioning for humanitarians, you should absolutely do that. We had our session yesterday. It was so amazing, and I would love to come and co-create this community together that is open for a lifetime, and it only costs $500. So I'm sure you can't find an offer like this and also the community like this. And I would love to come. I would love for you to come to co-create this amazing community together and set yourself very big dreams and go for them. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because I have been coaching people, humanitarians, on this, like what is on the other side of the big transitioning, right? What is the on the other side that we really want to see us having and living the life? How do we imagine it? And I see a lot of the times humanitarians restraining or constraining themselves as to, well, I just want this, and that's already amazing, or that would be already great. And these dreams are not even as big as they could have allowed themselves because they just keep constraining themselves as to how all of these big ones are not going to even happen. So I should already like settle myself and satisfy myself with this is already great. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. And amazing that you already feel like you have this idea of how that could look like. But I'm just challenging you to see, what if you're not allowing yourself to go for the big dreams simply because of the fear that it will not work out, right? Simply because of the assumption that what if it may not work out and therefore I will be disappointed, or I will not be able to handle that. And therefore, I just constrain myself to what I can see myself going for next, which is a bit of a incremental um, version of what we have currently. And here is how I would love to bring to your awareness why going for that big dream could be so beneficial for so many reasons. And I want to share my experience of currently experiencing the outcomes or the effects of that big dreaming and how this has been for me, but also sharing with you why I'm doing this. So here are the reasons that I have thought about why going big, whatever that big for you is, right? And go big, like going so much bigger than we can ever imagine possible, might be so beneficial. Here are the reasons why, is because this way we will no longer be doing things or going for things because we feel or we believe that we just deserve this, but instead of going for the things that we just want this, right? So there's the distinction between deserving it versus really wanting it. And I have noticed, especially humanitarians coming from like developing countries, or coming from countries where we tend to have this feeling of this is already great. And I'm not arguing that this is not great, but I'm just wanting you to see that the reason why we believe this is already is great is because we don't see ourselves going for big ones. And therefore we're already like feeling, oh, even if I can handle this, that would be great, right? So there is this undertone of, I only deserve this, And I used to have this a lot in my humanitarian career, is that as I went up in my career, I had this feeling of like heading the unit was already, ooh, I didn't think I would be able to do that. So I'm already feeling grateful. And this undertone of for someone coming from my background, that's already great, which sounded like the discriminatory version of I don't really deserve those big dreams, but this is already great and I should be grateful. Do you see what I'm saying? And I would love for us to create this genuine equal society or this free society that we all want to aim for, where we're not dreaming for things based on what we deserve, but dreaming for things just like childlike dreaming that we all had when we were children, when we didn't have a lot of these constraints and impositions and limitations imposed on us by society, right? When we had like we felt like the whole world is our oyster and we can just do whatever the heck we want to and go for like becoming astronauts or becoming I don't know TV producers or whatever the thing that we just like we had this feeling of limitless possibilities of dreaming, right? And that is I feel is the non-discriminatory way of dreaming, right? And the discriminatory way of dreaming that I feel that many of us may have is this um, trying to come out of our limitations a little bit or trying to come out of this inferiority that we have been imposed by society or by systemic injustices, and then we just feel like we're dreaming and we're coming to this level is already, ooh, we can make this, it seems like it's possible, even though we could have dreamt even a lot more. But because of these impositions, the systemic injustices and the societal prejudices and all of this have imposed to us and have made us believe that we can only dream or we should the dreaming that we already have is already amazing, and if we are going for more, are you sure, like, can you handle it, kind of this um like voices coming out within us that is the voices that we have inherited from society, right? So therefore I really wanted to bring to your awareness what would it be like to dream just like childlike dreaming and going for them versus the constrained and a bit of a self-discriminatory or the discriminatory that we have inherited or in internalized from the society and based on that dreaming. And I would like to advocate for the childlike dreaming because it is so genuine, it's so full of believing in the possibilities in the world, full of believing in the good in the world, full of like limitless ways of thinking, fearless way of thinking and dreaming and feeling like we can do whatever we want to. I would love to invite you to that type of dreaming exercise instead of the discriminatory type of dreaming exercise. That would be like the biggest reason why um, dreaming that way and going after them and making them happen would be the biggest reason. The other biggest reason why that type of dreaming that I believe we all need is because naturally humans, I believe naturally as humans, we are meant to explore like all the limits and go beyond the limits. And the reason why I believe that we are naturally prone and keen and curious to do that is not so much even like the material gains or the powers, even though those are the things that maybe we get attached to at some point, but not even that. But I think exactly the opposite, that we can go beyond those attachments to feeling so free from like the time constraints, free from the financial constraints, free from the any other constraint that we can imagine, so that we can really experience the true freedom that is no longer subjected to circumstances, no longer enslaved to circumstances or resources or anything else, but going beyond and beyond. And I believe that humans from nature are such free humans that are not supposed to be like going to 9 to 5 jobs or being part of certain systems or just like doing things on the regular and then having the TV in the evening and then having the dinner and then going to bed and then doing that again and just keep doing that. I just feel like the more I think about and the more I work on myself, the more this freedom that I feel. I have this feeling that we're not meant to be just following that thing. If for most of us, that we are meant to, as humans in the world, explore those limits every time, like reach to a certain limit that we feel like the limit, and then breaking through those limits and going to the next limit, and then keep feeling this freedom, keep creating this freedom, or keep like experiencing our greatness that is not subjected to any circumstantial constraints, the time constraints, or the monetary constraints, whatever other constraints. And in order to do that, though, we need to have a great motivation, right? And the great motivation is, again, the dreaming. And oftentimes when we are dreaming that big, like my client yesterday in the group was telling me that she has a lot of people around her who tells her that, yeah, it's great and all, it's a great dream, but, right? And we always have this but, and that but keeps coming from the society that keeps telling us how all of this is not possible, how we have become delusional, or how we should be realistic and all of these things. And then it's so easy in those moments to give in to those rather than thinking about all of our freedom that we have, the greatness that we have to go beyond these constraints, to really experience the human experience of feeling like, oh my God, I could be free to be doing whatever I want, whenever I want to, and making the lifestyle I want to, because I really believe that I can do that and show to myself that that's the life that I really want and I can actually have it. And the best part is that I believe that we have all the inbuilt tools within us that help us go there. And some of the reasons that we don't do that is because we give in to fear, we give in to those fear of judgments of others, we give in to our own doubts, we give in to all of those emotions. And that's why we become the victim of our emotions. And therefore, we never really go and dream big and go after them. So now I'd like to share the perspective from my own experience of how going to like big dreams and on the other side what is available and what's happening and how that is so beneficial, that has been to my life, and how I would love to share with you in case you feel like, okay, that would be worth going for anyway, right? So as you know, that my transitioning from the humanitarian work to becoming a life coach and working with humanitarians and helping them transition has started 2021 January. And before that, I resigned during the pandemic. And this is a story that I have been telling a lot in so many different settings. But here is the thing that I have at the time, I have made the dreams right at the time. So if I started January 2021, I have started dreaming about all of what's possible 2020 in the pandemic, right? In the pandemic where the world was shutting down. And in those times, I have been dreaming big. For those contexts, it was very big, right? And the context in which I was dreaming of what I could do in life and how I could live my life, the dreaming that I had at the time was doing the work that I really love doing, that I really, really believe in, that I genuinely believe this is the work that I really want to do for the rest of my life, that the work that I do also has such an impact on people's lives in systemic changes, not only one-time thing, right? Because that was the reason why I left the humanitarian work, because of wanting to make the impact systematically. And that was like the big dream, right? Of wanting to work and loving the work and making the impact that would be, excuse me, so life-changing for people forever and not just one time. And doing that while living with my loved ones in places that I choose and financially free. If I replicated the salary that I thought I would want to replicate at the time, if I had that, I would feel already very free to be doing and sustaining my life and work and also doing what I love, right? So these were the dreams at the time, 2020. And in that dream, I also had back in the day that I thought, what would it be to influence hundreds of people's lives and have the impact in the humanitarian industry and also being paid so well for my job, for my work, that I would make $1 million in my coaching practice. And that way I will use that money to influence all the projects that I really want to influence. So for instance, I had always the project of statelessness that I really want to donate money and work on this with other NGOs. That's very close to my heart. Another one is working on the project for women suffering from domestic violence and getting them out of that situation and helping them rebuild their lives. That was the project that's also very close to my heart. And I really want to spend this money for this. And of course, spending money for many of my family members who really need my help financially. So getting them on feet and getting them study and all of this stuff, right? So at the time, this was the dream, and that was like almost 5 years now. And in the time when I was dreaming this big, I had, of course, no clue of whether this all will work out, whether I can even like go and do something because it was pandemic, everything was shutting down. But somehow I had this feeling of I want to do this. I want to go big. I want to dream big and keep going and implementing them and keep making them reality so that they just become part of my life. They just become like who I am and how I do things. Because here's the thing is that I always wanted to keep my identity of being the person who is in integrity, who is doing the things that she loves all the time, no matter what the constraints are outside. And being the person who always makes those dreams happen, whatever the dream is. This was the identity that I always want to keep, no matter where I go and what I do, right? So therefore, it was very consistent or coherent with the dreams, is because the dream was that I wanted to work on the thing that I really love and that I believe in, that I want to make impact. And in this, if I look back all of these years, now it's 3.5 years that I have been doing this job of transitioning and becoming a life coach and working with humanitarians. And I'm happy to tell you that I am very well on the way to this path of implementing all of my dreams. I have implemented most of the dreams that I have told you about, and I have been so honored to help transition so many humanitarians. I think it's now hundreds. And I want to, this year alone, I want to influence and help another 100 humanitarians to transition and make their transition successful. And I want to help them remove all of these constraints that they feel like they have in dreaming big and going for it. And the reason why I want to say this and share this experience is because the feeling that you have, the identity that you develop as you go and do this work is the identity of someone who never needs to fear for not having a job. That's the identity that I feel like I have now, is I never feel like I have to go and force myself to do the job that I never want to do. Right? I have this identity and I have developed this identity of, oh, I'm someone who always goes for what I want and make it work. And I am someone who always works on things that I really truly believe in. And I'm someone who always works on the actual real impact instead of just trying to justify things that are difficult to justify. And I have kept this identity and I have fueled and even improved that identity or given myself a lot more evidence to how that's true through this work. And therefore, I have such a freedom now to be able to say, I'm no longer going to be working on the things that I don't want to work on. And I'm no longer forcing myself to be doing things that I don't believe in because of this identity that I have, because of this trust I have with myself, because of the trust that I have in the world, in the universe, and because of the trust I have with other humans who want to do this work with me. And therefore, this level of freedom that I have, this level of, my God, I can't believe this is my life and I get to live it. And I get to achieve all the dreams that I want, no matter how big they are. And I am that person, right? And that, I think, that level of freedom, that level of, I don't need to be subjected to the constraints of the circumstances. I don't need to be subjected to the fears or doubts or time constraints or all of this, because I can feel like I can be beyond that. I can feel more powerful than them. And I can feel like any circumstances I'm in, I can change that. Any reality that I'm in, I can change that if I want to. And when we have this level of freedom within us, this level of trust within us, then it becomes so much more about the impact that we want to do. Then it becomes so much more about the work that we truly enjoy doing. And then it becomes more, even if the difficulties that arise, the challenges that arise, we approach them from, I know I can overcome them. I know I can work through them. I know I can go through them, instead of, I hope that this will not happen to me. I hope that I will not lose my job. I hope that I will not be on the street, or I hope that I will go to have to work in McDonald's because I can't really find anything else. And I'm, of course, exaggerating, right? And again, please don't hear me wrong that working for McDonald's is a bad thing, but I just want you to think of like what fears come up usually when we are afraid of losing job, what fears come up when we are afraid of finding another job. And when we keep going for the big dreams, I really want you to see how or what level of identity you develop, what level of trust you develop in yourself, what level of freedom you develop in yourself. And not only that, that's one of the biggest outcomes, but also that's not the only biggest outcome. The other outcomes are that I'm able to help so many people change their lives and transition to the life they want to, and that having so many ripple effects on the families. I'm able to use these resources to help so many other projects that I want to do, and them getting the ripple effect and the outcomes of it. I'm able to easily and without the doubt in my mind, without constraining myself, help put into the education that I want to, and support my extended family members and all of this. And all of this are possible while I'm doing the job that I love and the work that I love and the impact that I love creating. And this is possible when we keep going for the big dreams that we want to. And that's why I wanted to highlight how it looks like and what would be the benefits of going for those big dreams is because they challenge our thinking in such a big ways. They grow us in big ways. They quantum leap us in ways that we never thought was possible. And then we also feel like, oh my God, I didn't even know that I could do this. And now I know I can, right? And that gives you so much more of the confidence boost and so much more the evidence of how if I can do this, then I wonder what else I can do, right? And then keep going and expanding that way. And that's really what I would love to wish for you, that you experience this for yourself, where it's no longer about surviving, or it's no longer about going from this month to another month, or it's no longer about, can I find this? Can I do this? But rather going like, as if like the image I have, the visualization I have is the plane taking off, and then once like it's outside of the gravity zone and it's on the beyond the clouds, right? And then you can like be above the clouds and look down at the clouds, and you're like, my God, I can't believe that I can do this. I can't believe that I can be this free from a lot of those survival things. And that's what I would love to wish for you to experience for yourself. And that comes, I believe, from dreaming big, big, big. And the outcomes of that big dreaming can be such a powerful impact on you, on yourself as a person, but also on so many people around you. And I really want you to experience this. And therefore, I would love to invite you to my group coaching on big transitioning for humanitarians. And I would love to get you be part of this, co-create this community, and set such big dreams and make them reality every time, as many times as you need to, because it's a lifetime of access. And that would be where I will be welcoming you. I would love to see you inside. So have a beautiful week, everyone, and I will talk to you very soon.